And we're live. How are we doing? This is the Pondcast. This is episode 17?
18.
18. Okay. We got a lot of good stuff. We're going to get right to it. Tony, Steve, how are we doing?
All right. Glad his technical difficulties have been sorted.
Yeah, sorry. We're sorry for the delay. One of our thirds had a little computer issue. He actually ate some of the keys accidentally. I feel when I picture you working on it, I just picture like the Cookie Monster, just throwing stuff in his mouth, I'm working on computer. That's how I see you.
That's me. Yeah, he's talking about me, of course.
We're good now, though. We're good now. We got video. We got everything. So
it's just like my extended family would say. I swear, Anthony, you're going to be late for your own effing funeral. That sort of thing. That's how they talk.
I've never heard anyone say that to you.
I'm just kidding. I don't have any family.
I
do. I do have family. I'm just kidding.
Right off the top, speaking of, we take family very seriously here at the podcast, so we would like to shout out to tonight's sponsor, the Turtle Room family, can we call them? GardenStateTortoise.com. Member, he's like a cousin of the Turtle Room family. Is that website?
He's a cool cousin.
Right, exactly. Older cousin, lends you a cigarette, that kind of thing. Got you. So check it out, GardenStateTortoise.com. He does great things over there. How is that website? I don't think I've ever been on it. Is it good?
Yeah, really.
I mean, we don't have to. People are going to go because we're telling them to go, so we don't have to be too complimentary if it's not that good. Is it good?
Oh no, it's solid.
Okay, beautiful. All right, well, I'll maybe check it out too.
Steve knows what he's talking about with websites too. I mean, for me, I think the content's good, but stylistically, the design, Steve could talk about. So we both think it's good on two different levels. Pretty important. Tractor beam.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely get a lot of nice pictures. He's got his stuff up there too. Yeah. Check out Garden State Tortoise. He's got lots of great turtles and tortoises. Great place to get good quality animals for reasonable prices.
Yeah.
We also wanted to real quick. We wanted to point out the T-shirts that both Anthony and Steve are wearing, part of our new line. They're pretty. I think they're pretty sweet. So Tony, yours is the black and the aqua. Is that?
Same. Yeah, his is the normal
the green?
Logo color.
Gotcha.
Green turtle, teal circle, and then mine is the teal shirt. So we've got white turtle, green circle.
Nice. So there's just two of the many options.
I feel like I should talk. I should talk so mine blows up in the picture.
Yeah. Well, then go give your pitch. Tell us. So when you put that shirt on today, how did it feel? How's the cotton?
Listen, all right. I'm going to tell everyone something. Okay. All right. I'm going to tell everyone something. I'm a large American. Okay. I've been known to take down. There's this place called Wethersfield Pizza here in Connecticut, and 3 people have ever finished their full chicken cutlet grinder. One guy and me twice. So I'm a big human. Okay, I'm 6'8", about 300 pounds right now. I just lost 45 pounds to be 300 pounds. So anyway,
You look good, by the way.
So what I want to say is, clothes don't fit me. Okay, but this is 2XLT. It is the best fitting shirt I've ever had in my entire life. It's lovely.
Okay.
Lovely.
So if we have any other large Americans listening or interested, that shirt's for you.
That would be a special order for the next time we order them. If you need a size that big, though. However, we've got the teal, the black, and the ash gray in medium, large, extra large, and 2X. Just not the tall version of the 2X.
Okay. So any regular people that don't have to deal with the things that Anthony and myself have to deal with, those shirts then are for you, not the regular ones.
Well,
what's the thread count?
That I don't. It's combed cotton. That I do know. So it's really soft.
Okay.
600, I'd say. Strong to quite strong.
Round 6. Got you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Strong to quite strong.
You can find them at theturtleroom.com/shop, and they're right up top. In fact, until midnight, we're running a special. You can use the coupon code Pondcast18 to get 10% off T-shirts. So, First 10 people who want to buy a shirt before midnight tonight can get 10% off their shirts. Pondcast 18.
Listen, guys, throw away all of your wife's credit cards and use yours to go on and make this happen. This is the buy of a lifetime. You know, you feel like you want to get out any occasion. This shirt works. You can wear it under your tux, which I plan on doing at my wedding. You can wear it on the beach, like turtles live. You know, it's relative to any outdoor situation.
The white one would be great for that.
The white one would exactly, and reflects the sun. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Harmful UV rays. Every shirt doesn't protect you from that, but we got you. TurtleRoom.com//shop. I think I nailed it.
And it's on stretch pay for 3 easy payments.
Yeah, how much are they? Or do we not want to say that?
$18 a piece, so
Okay.
10% off. They're just over $16.
Okay. That's a good deal for an
$6.
everyday shirt. It is.
Yeah,
16.20.
that's right.
So check that out. Do we have any other business issues up top here, Steve?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. We're gonna get right into. There's a couple of articles that we want to talk about that we've seen. I feel like it's been a long time. It has been the standard month, but I feel like there's been a lot to cover in this last month. So right off the top, I just want to talk about there's an article in the New York Times about the Yangtze giant soft-shell turtles. If we can bring that up, Steve. So there it is, right there. They had as many people, I'm sure most of you that are listening know this, but there's only roughly 3 of these animals left in captivity in the wild. We're not 100% sure, and that's what the article was, led you to believe. But they found out why they've been trying to breed these 2 animals for 20, 30 years, something like that, for a very long time, and they went in and found out that the male has an issue with his turtle doohickey. Something happened that broke it, so that's why they haven't been able to have fertile eggs for a very long time. So they moved right into artificial insemination. They found out that the turtle sperm was good. They inseminated the female, and they're waiting to see what she's going to do, if she's going to lay any fertile eggs. It's been a really long time that they've been working on this.
But she's been producing eggs for years.
Right, just not fertile.
That's a good sign.
6 years
Right.
worth of infertile eggs.
Right.
I
And
mean,
you have to,
the first year it says she laid about 180
180,
eggs
yeah.
the first time, first summer, and they were all infertile. So
Right.
infertile. Yeah.
it's a lot of omelets.
It's very nice. Very nice to have some New York Times shout outs to the TSA. TSA gets quoted in there, and the head of the TSA. A couple of interesting. It's not just. I feel like we don't get enough of these articles. So thank you, New York Times. Yes, this turtle's penis was mangled. I've been waiting to read that on air for my whole life. Just a really interesting story. Hopefully that works. They said that it's kind of they don't have any background on it, so they just kind of went for it, and are going to have to, troubleshoot as it comes out. But hopefully they get some, some good eggs out of that. Is it too? They said that so that they know of like 2 or 3 live in the wild specimens that are in Vietnam,
No.
and the Vietnamese government won't let them touch them.
No, just
4
one.
known specimens remaining.
4,
so
3
they
in
make
captivity.
2 that they can't.
They said that there may be. It says at the end of that they think there may be more in Vietnam than just there's one that,
Okay.
that they know of in the middle of Hanoi, and there may be more in the wild, but we don't know because Vietnam isn't being cooperative or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
So that'd be an I don't know. That's just an interesting point to see how that plays out. That's one of the as close to megafauna as we have. That's the biggest thing in any river's the biggest freshwater turtle, correct?
No, I think the
I'm not
alligator
sure.
snapper's bigger.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No,
It's not?
this one gets up to like 400 pounds, and alligator snapper only like
Okay.
200. But there might be some soft shells that can rival this, but
Okay.
I'm not sure, though.
One way or the other. I mean, it's just we've talked about this recently. I've been thinking about it a lot recently. How could there be these large things that we don't know, and it's just an interesting, they think that there may be a few more. It's crazy if the history behind it is too. So just check out the article. The history of how they got there, where the specimens are from. I think is really cool. Tony, you want to talk about, or just give a quick overview of your article?
Sure. So basically, it wasn't huge news, but Vulcan Wolf, the highest peak in the Galapagos, and which is obviously a volcano because the Galapagos are volcanic islands, erupted on Tuesday last week. I think Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, whatever. It was last week. It was within the past week, and no one really said anything about it. But Vulcan Wolf has a population, its own Galapagos species, subspecies, tortoise, and it also has the rare pink land iguana, which is really rare, which is only right there. They're awesome looking.
They are cool looking.
They're one of the coolest herps you'll ever see, and it's only right there. But
it looks like if there was an iguana in a coloring book and a kid got to it, didn't know what to do, and just kind of made it his own.
That's exactly what it looks like, or an iguana with some kind of skin issue.
Right. And the skin issue being it has a lot of aunties that like to dress up with it.
Right, aunties. Or maybe it's like 2 days into recovery from sun poisoning and all its skin is peeled off. But anyway, it's a really cool species, really rare species. The Vulcan wolf Galapagos tortoise is actually the Galapagos tortoise species that you'll see if you go to the Bronx Zoo. Or subspecies. And the good news is that both of those rare species were on the other side of the lava flow. So it flowed down. They were on the south, let's say, and it flowed down the north. So it was on the other side of the volcano, which is really good news. But the article that I found touched on that pink land iguana, but didn't touch on the Galapagos tortoise.
Okay. Anyway. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. What kind of effect is that going to have? I mean, obviously they've been living on a volcano for years, for millions of years. So you think that that's going to be? Is it like how dangerous is it for them?
I think that things can probably bounce back pretty quickly, but basically any habitat that happens on it will be uninhabitable for a long time. Right. It takes a long time before that volcanic rock breaks down, and
now a long time is the scientific measurement, correct?
A very long time.
They will be uninhabitable for one long time.
Well, actually, what's interesting about the Galapagos Islands is that the older the island, the more advanced they are. Like obviously, and I know that's like a yogiism, but some of the newer islands don't have as much wildlife, don't have as much flora because
they just came up from the sea, technically.
There hasn't been as much time for things to kind of take hold. Right. So it does take a lot of time. And, I mean, if the lava decided to flow a different way, I don't know if volcanoes can just decide to flow a certain way, or if scientists already knew which way it would flow if it ever erupted. But it could be obviously very devastating.
So they're only on their whole populations of the pink and the Galapagos, the pink iguana and the Galapagos subspecies there is only on one portion of the mountain?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and that's why it's the Vulcan wolf tortoise.
You didn't do any Wikipediaing of the name of Vulcan wolf. Why is it called Vulcan wolf? Because that's obviously the coolest place name on Earth.
Oh, I don't know. It's on the biggest island
Vulcan
too. It's on Isabella.
Vulcan is volcano.
Word for volcano.
Right.
Yeah, but it's on the biggest island in the Galapagos, Isabella, which is the one that's shaped like a seahorse.
Right.
Here we go. The volcano was named after Theodor Wolff, a German geologist who studied the Galapagos Islands in the 1800s.
Yeah. I read that the other day when you sent me the article, and I forgot about it.
Sounds very like cool. A nerd.
I feel like listen. That's actually something I want to pick up step up our game on. I want to profile some history, like old guys like that, like the OGs of this geologist that were back. He's not really directly related, but that's something coming your way soon. One more. We want to do one more article, or we want to get into it, and then if we have time at the end, we can go over another article.
Yeah, let's get into the big topic.
Okay, you're excited for this. I know you are.
I'm pumped up. This is a conversation I love to have.
Of course you do. So we wanted to kind of talk about some things. I don't know, do you want to present it? I feel like I want you to present it. I feel like this is your...
No, it's yours because we want to do this as a tribute to... Do you recall?
Maya Angelou, the late Maya Angelou. No, we want to do it as a tribute. Yeah, kind of a tribute to the the great David Letterman, who is... What I don't even I'm embarrassed, but like when is he done already, or is it coming?
Yeah,
he is done. That's what I thought. Okay, I've been wedding planning. I'm not really concentrating on the entertainment industry right now. So we're gonna do just a simple top 10 list. These are the top 10 things that we see wrong with posts on turtle classified websites. Is that correct? Is that right?
Actually, a lot of it can go across the board, just to reptiles in general, which I thought was pretty cool about this topic because so many of our topics are so turtle heavy, and I'm sure if we give specifics, a lot of ours will be turtle specific, but
Right.
I was calling it the top 10 classified blunders that make us all look bad.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just say that?
Because you were talking.
I should have shut up. You're 100% right. Okay.
Just so everyone knows, John is the host. I want everyone to know that.
Yeah. I'm ready to host. I'm not, I'm just saying it's, whatever.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
All right, I'm being about it. So, the top 10 turtle blunders that make us all look bad. So,
I thought you would do it in David Letterman's voice.
I can't do a Letterman, so I'm not going to even try it. It's a... the top 10, maybe I'll try to read them like that. That'll be hard, but all right. Number 10. I've had them for X months, and they're doing great.
Right.
So
one of the all-time classic blunders.
Right. We got right to an embarrassing one. So this is a blunder. This is a blunder. Why? Why is this a blunder?
You're such a jerk. I almost just swore at you. This is why it's number 10, okay? They get stronger as you go on, okay?
Okay.
But this one is self-explanatory, which is why, again, it was number 10. So we can skip
right by.
I don't think
this is self-explanatory. That's what I'm saying.
People will...
X months? I had them for X months?
Like X number of months.
Right.
Like whatever. I had them for 3 months. They're doing great. Like, no, you didn't have them for that long. Don't act like 3 months is a long time to have them. Nobody's impressed.
You can't know if they're doing great in 3 months.
Right. They could have underlying issues. It makes people look flighty, too. You know what I mean? It makes it...
Some folks recommend a quarantine period of 3 months.
Right.
Right.
See? No, it does. You're right. It makes people look flighty, and I don't think that responsible is often used to describe people who own a lot of turtles. So that really does hurt us. That's one of our big things. I know.
The majority of us are not responsible.
That may be the one that makes us look the most bad. That's actually. So I eat my own words. It's not a bad one. Makes us look flighty. Not in it for the long haul was your other quote. So we went over this before already, so we have some ideas, and that was Tony's direct quote. He wanted to make sure not in for the long haul. He wants to know us turtle keepers are going to keep on trucking. Okay.
I'm just saying, not all of us get something and then sell it right away.
Right.
Some of us,
All right. Now this number 9 is issue that extends way over just reptiles, also to human beings, and a lot of times. Number 9, biggest pet peeve is don't know anything about the parents,
especially when
hatchlings. Especially right. So that basically means that if you don't know anything about the parents, that you were out digging up a path for your dirt bike, and then you found a turtle egg nest, and took it out, and are now they were able to hatch them, and you're selling them. So it makes you look shady. Is that the?
Yeah, it's kind of an extension of the last one too. It shows that you like just got something, and now you're selling it again. And a lot of these can be red flags for new people who are just getting animals for the first time. Or, I mean, really, this is just going to be a venting session. So, hope you enjoy. Yeah,
basically. So, the first two, those are now. There's a basic issue that I kind of wanted to mention. I'm glad that you said that this is a kind of a venting for us. We also, though, as a community, I want to say, are we too particular about these things? So these are things to think about while we're going over this list. The first two I think were valid. I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna kind of make my opposite point. So I'm not sure if Tony and Steve will totally agree with me, but I don't know if all these are valid or we're just kind of being d-bags about the whole thing. Maybe we need to be a little more inclusive. Maybe we need to be okay if people make mistakes. I mean, you guys are human too. We all make them. But so the first two I think were important. So moving on to number 8. All right, we're done with number 9. Any other?
Yeah, I will just say about the inclusive thing. Yeah. Inclusivity, is that a word? Because basically, this is our venting session because we won't do this openly on the classifieds, things like that, because we're not going to get into a bantering match and.
Well, it's venting, and we're trying to give pointers in a maybe not in the most constructive way. We're trying to give the perspective of things that can be whatever can be unfortunate.
What's more constructive than your friends making fun of you? Am I right?
Right. Well, right, exactly. So that's a very good point. I mean, for me, nothing. So number 8, reptile. Replies. Hijacking.
Reptiles, yes. Reptiles are number 8.
Reptiles.
The most annoying thing. Reptile on the classified.
The annoying thing about reptiles. So I don't understand this one. Hijacking sales posts with whatever personal agenda items you have to complain about.
Listen.
Yeah, we've seen this.
Listen. I'm telling you right now, you guys are being twats. That is not valid.
It is valid.
Okay, why is it valid?
Because this is why it's only number 8. Okay, it's not that important, but it's something that was put in there that was ranked high because it's not that important, but it's on the list. Mm-hmm. Steve knows what I'm talking about. This stuff happens, and you'll have 5 pages worth of nonsense when someone's just trying to sell something. And then most of the time it's unfounded, and people are just talking smack without actually knowing what they're talking about, and then just messing the whole thing up so that somebody can't actually make their transaction. You know what I mean?
The whole point of a classified post is to sell an animal. If you want to have a discussion about an unrelated topic, that's what we call a forum, where you make your own post that isn't a classified.
Bang.
It is 100% impossible to keep your own baloney in your head out of every interaction that you have with every human being. You just can't have one without it doing that. So that's why I'm saying I'm making the final call here, an invalid point. Moving on.
Fair enough.
Number 7, breeder direct. So this is when.
Oh.
This is a good one. Here's a good one. This is when.
I like this one.
They will.
Do you want me to tell you what it is? So you don't have to read it? I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
All right, so take over. There's a place. All right, I'm not trying to call anyone out, so I'm not saying any names. But
call them out. Listen, we're not here to make friends. We're here to take names.
There's a place. There's a place on Fauna that routinely sells animals, and if they're selling 8 animals, then 7 of them are like the really routine, like very common imports. So they'll have like 6-inch redfoots and 5-inch Russian tortoises and stuff of that nature, or like 5-inch red-ear sliders, and every time it says breeder direct, buy straight from the breeder. Like, no, you're not the breeder. All you carry are the things that get imported and or taken from the turtle farms. You're a liar, and I'm hoping you're not looking at me thinking, how do you know that? You just know. Steve will vouch for me. When you stare at turtle classifieds, no, it's not a gut feeling.
Nobody who raises redfoots, or Russians for that matter, for the few people that are captive breeding Russians, nobody sits and raises them till they're 5-6 inches long and then sells them. That's a heck of an investment.
The babies are
if
worth
you're buying them
anyway.
directly from the breeder, you're going to be buying a hatchling. If you're not buying direct from the breeder, it's because it's not a hatchling.
And you're not a breeder.
I'm bringing the gavel down. Valid point, gentlemen.
Yeah. 3-1. 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, 3-1.
Breeder direct.
Yeah, no, and that's a good that's good. And you can't lie about that. If you know, what I mean, that's one of the main. You have to. Husbandry is unfortunately related to the past generations in every situation. So the breeding matters, and that's why number 10 matters too. Or no, I'm sorry, number 9, because you have to. You know, if you're going to be selling, it's a good idea to have some, or at least pretend you know something about the parents. Make it up. Most people aren't going to know the difference anyway. So I would have I'd have much more respect for it if you made it up and had a good story. Number 6. Asking questions that can be Googled, in parentheses, right in front of everyone, unparentheses.
The nerve. The nerve.
Defend yourself, Tony.
Well, I'm going to interject here. One of our good a friend of the Turtle Room, I guess, Paul Vandershow, who Anthony and I have both communicated with in the past, has an acronym he likes to use here. JFGI. And I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit, and it means just frickin' Google it. And I've seen him use that on a forum from time to time, and it's a good acronym. Sometimes, like, we have the internet at our fingertips. Most of us have it on our phones. If you can't take 13 seconds to type it into Google to search for it, why are you spending the time to type it into Facebook or Classified or whatever else?
Right.
Which requires you to wait for a couple hours till the other person can finally respond.
Right.
Why not just type it into Google?
I feel like
I'm actually getting. Go ahead, please.
No, I had no go. I had nothing.
Well, I actually am getting to the point where I don't want to hear from people that are not willing to read the care sheet. Like,
right.
I don't want to hear from people who are not willing to read whatever's out there. Like, even just the easy stuff. I mean, we're nerds to the point where we're reading the scholarly journals that whatever's been written on the species we keep, and we're reading it 10 times over, and we have to answer questions to people that just can honestly get their answers off the Wikipedia page. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of annoying. And then
you're for the Industrial Revolution, the robots. You want them to take our jobs? You don't want to have a job answering questions for people?
No, because I don't get paid for answering questions for people.
No, most people don't get paid to do what they love, Tony.
Right. I just think that people should take a little more pride in it and should I will say one thing for myself. When I was less informed, and it's not like I'm the grand poobah of knowledge. I don't know. I don't know that much. But when I knew even less, I was very careful about the questions I asked, especially in public, because you show all of your cards right there. So in a year, when you know more about the subject and you try to say something, people are going to look at you as that guy who doesn't know anything because he was asking stupid questions in front of everyone.
Who's going to look at you like that?
I make generalizations about people all the time based on what they show me. So you only have a small, and this is like a community. I know it's silly and it sounds cliquey and everything else, but if somebody's asking me something like some really Googleable questions about a species that I care about, I'm probably not going to sell them one of my rare animals that I produce because I don't want them to go to someone who's not going to do the research. I don't care if someone's young or old or what. If they come and they're 16 years old and they're like, hey, I was reading so-and-so's article about this, that's the type of stuff that would impress me and make me want to have that person have a chance with the rare animal that I'm producing, if that makes sense. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Just think about it.
Listen, you're walking a thin line. As long as it's about the animal It's about the like that. You know what I mean? I think that we get caught up in like oh this like it can be too if that's egotistical. And you know the difference if it is or it isn't. I'm not saying that it is for either of you or me. I'm just saying that in general we have to just as long as it's about the animal and not about our own our own stuff.
There is one exception. So like if it's a species you want to keep and you're interested in that one species, then you should do the research. But if the question is basically what do you keep and what do you recommend for where I live, or because there's not really a lot written on that type of stuff, and that involves a lot of species, so it's a lot of research. Those questions I love to answer because it really can help someone. And I'll even ask those questions now. Like ask someone in Pennsylvania how they keep three-toed box turtles because I'm wondering how they might do in Connecticut, and then figuring out where the frost line is and one place to the other. And I can't keep eastern box turtles, so it's really like the only box turtles I can keep that might be cold tolerant enough. So that sort of thing, it's fine, ask away. But if it's just, hey, I keep this, how should I take care of it? It gets a little frustrating sometimes because that's
okay. I have this is a perfect example. Do you think it's something like it's like a probationary period? Like you have to come up with a certain amount of information yourself, and then you can help. Like then you can be in the larger conversations with us. Like the same way that like some tattoo artists won't tattoo your hands if it's your first tattoo because you haven't. They'll be like, well, you haven't earned a hand tattoo to display to everyone. They want you to put it on your back first or whatever. That's just an example. But do you think it's something like that? Like, okay, I'm going to respect you more when I know that you have done what I did and found it out myself to a certain point.
That's exactly what I think. Yeah.
Okay.
All this said, just one thing that I want to make sure gets said here too. One of the reasons the Turtle Room exists is for people to have a place to come,
right.
And email and contact
right.
some experts in various different species. But at the same time, real basic stuff like how do I set up a habitat for a red-eared slider? There's lots of places you can figure that out without wasting somebody else's time with that question. We love to talk with people. We've recently got contact with somebody who was having a filtration issue. They did a DIY filtration thing, and so we've communicated trying to help them, find the faults in their filtration, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a little more advanced of an issue as well. So it's actually kind of enjoyable to have those conversations. But we want to be there for people to come ask the questions. But it is true that I believe everybody should respect other people's time and stuff. I mean, you want to be there for somebody, and we want to be others focused, but everybody from both sides should be others focused. Am I really making the best worth out of communicating with this person by asking them, does a red-eared slider need a basking area? I'm probably not using my own time wisely or the person I'm asking the questions to time wisely either. I could get that answer a whole lot quicker by Googling it than I could by emailing somebody to get that answer.
Makes sense.
Gotcha. That makes total sense. I think that's good, and I'm leaning towards valid. I'll go valid. Here we go. All right. Moving on. Honestly, I think that's a good conversation to have with ourselves, and I think I do take away that no one's going to be emailing me because no one does email me about this stuff. But whoever if you have a question, don't feel like you can't ask it. Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Exactly. We would rather answer a question than not answer a question overall.
But if you're really dumb, we will make fun of you for asking that dumb question, and this is what we do. That's it.
Only behind your back and on an occasional podcast.
Yeah, never in a public forum like on Google.
Never.
Okay. Sorry. All right, number 5. Your animals have been kept in deplorable condition. I think that's a pretty easy one. I don't even know if we have to defend that.
Well, I will say though, I think this was the one that I thought of rehoming fees on. This is a pet peeve of mine, and a lot of people will argue with me on this one. Rehoming fees really, really grind my gears because it's an excuse to ask for money, in my opinion. I think, again, if you just educate yourself a little bit as the seller, then you can ask a little more of the person who's going to adopt the animal, and you can tell if someone actually cares. The fact that they're willing to give you $150 is not the only determining factor of whether or not they care.
Right.
I had a guy who offered me a bunch of money to get him some red ear sliders for his pond. Oh, I don't care if they wander off, whatever, they get hit by a car, whatever. He wanted to give me like $150 for 10 baby red ear sliders. I could have got those for $10 for the whole bunch and then pocketed $140, but I won't do that. And just because he wanted to spend doesn't mean he was a good home for the animals. So,
but red-eared sliders, we were fine with them getting hit by cars, though, right? I mean, if they're in an invasive area, let's make it happen.
I don't know. Something about it just doesn't feel right. But you're right. You're right. You're right.
You know, heading down the rehoming fee bunny trail just a little bit further, I feel like half the people ask rehoming fees so they can say they're trying to adopt the animal out instead of trying to sell the animal.
Right.
Let's call it what it is. If you're asking a rehoming fee, you're more or less selling the animal.
Right.
Than you are just trying to get it a good home.
More. So you're more trying to sell it than trying to get it a good home.
Right, exactly.
A lot of that is the Craigslist thing, though. You can't say for sale for an animal. Right. You have to say rehoming fee.
Right. It's kind of a wink-wink thing. Like it's a rehoming.
Yeah. Pyramided sulcata tortoise for rehoming, $800.
All right, back to deplorable conditions. I like part of the rest of Anthony's little parenthetical that's in here, so I think we ought to make sure that's said.
Yeah, let's make sure that's said.
Okay. Anthony, quoting Anthony, picture tells 1,000 words, like a bunch of animals from different continents, comma, that are primarily acquired as imports, comma, being kept together. Now, the grammar is not that sound, but the point is extremely good.
my email doesn't have autocorrect.
I love the phrase too. Picture tells 1,000 words. I feel like that's something that like the old Italian guy at the restaurant will say that like he doesn't really speak good English.
Yeah.
Picture tells 1,000 words.
Such a stupid cliche. Oh, sorry.
So, but Tony, go shoot.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking of one at the Hamburg show. There was a crate with Forsten's tortoises, which are from Sulawesi, the fourth largest island in Indonesia. There were Cora ambonensis, the Asian box turtle, which obviously is not from Indonesia, and then what else was in? Oh, I think redfoots too. Redfoots.
Yeah.
South American. So all together in the same box. Those are all imports and all from different parts of the world. It's like the worst thing you could ever do. So
how in the progression of your turtle keeping, when did you figure that out? Just out of curiosity.
Pretty quickly, I think. I mean, like, I wouldn't have known early on that the Forsten tortoise was an import, but I might have guessed just because of the size of them. There was like a group of them. They were all big. They were kept with other inexpensive imports. So they're the most expensive out of that group, but it's obvious where they came from if they're in with all those imports. Like I knew early on that Russians, redfoots, Asian box turtles were all imported quite often because that's how people get around the 4-inch law. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. I think that's a pretty obvious one. That's definitely a valid point. If you can tell it by the pictures, then there's definitely like who knows what else is going on. That's
you can just see
the thing that you're presenting as someone trying to sell.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So move on to number 4. Is that good? Are we good with that one? Any other points?
I'm good.
Okay. Number 4. Seller doesn't know species. So this is like, if you're an example of this is what, Tone?
Well, there's been a couple of specifics. Like I can think of one of the reptile pet stores that sells a lot online, selling Gorzugai sliders. That's referring to Sudemi's Gorzugai, which is cooter, not a slider. So it's not a big deal, but it's not a slider. It's just lazy bush league, and I feel like it makes us all look bad. And
Right.
there was just one the other day that I put on there too. Actually, I sent you guys the link. Oh, actually, that was from Ken Foose, who's a very educated guy. He's I think he's got like a bachelor's in zoology. He runs a pet store and he writes for Reptile Magazine all the time. But he was selling, crap, what was that one that he was selling? Do you guys remember? I sent you the link.
Yeah, you said yellow-eared sliders.
Oh, yellow-eared sliders, right. Actually, they were Cumberland too. They weren't even yellow belly. They were Cumberland.
Right.
The third.
But they were described as basically a combination of yellow-bellied and red-eared.
Right. Well,
Right,
and this kind of gets into one of my pet peeves sometimes too. Is a lot of times on Facebook we'll mention a species name, scientific name instead of a common name, and then a bunch of people go, well, what's the common name? Well, it depends on where you are. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 of them. If you want to be accurate, use the species names because common names are what they are. People are going to call Cumberlands yellow-eared sliders occasionally because they have an ear similar to a red ear that's kind of yellow-orangish instead of red. So then it gets confusing people. Oh, is it a yellow-bellied slider? Is it a red-eared slider? Is it a Cumberland slider? It just kind of blends all 3 names together into one, and it's kind of a dirty kind of common name. I mean, some of the countries where red-eared sliders are invasive to, they're known as the green turtle because of how green their shell is as a hatchling.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So green turtle, somebody might think you're talking about the green sea turtle. Common names can be sloppy. Greek tortoises, we call them Greek tortoises, but if you go to Greece, the Greek tortoise is what we call a Hermann's tortoise because that's the tortoise that's native to Greece.
Right.
Greek tortoises are called Greek tortoises because they look like Greek pottery, not because they're native to Greece.
Mm-hmm.
So common names can also be misleading. So especially if we're going to use species names, let's try to be accurate with them because they actually can be accurate.
Right. And back to number whatever it was, if you don't know it, just copy and paste it into a Google browser, and then you will know what it is accurately.
All right, so I see both your points, and I'm going to disagree. The reason that I disagree is I think that most people that have any casual interest are going to have no idea about the scientific names. I absolutely guarantee that it makes more sense, that it's more usable, and if you're being specific, then that's good. But I think that we can't look at it negatively that someone knows that. And I feel this specifically for me because I don't know many of the Latin names. I wish I knew more. I don't have enough space in here. I'm for whatever reason I don't have the time to study them and to memorize them all, and I don't work with them as often enough as like you guys do. So you guys know more. So I hate having, like what you just said, Tony. I hate having to Google something that I'm just trying to have a conversation with you or Steve or whoever. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel dumb.
Oh yeah, I get that. But like, if you're posting on a forum or Facebook, again, the lag here for somebody to reply, you could have figured out your answer a lot sooner if you took what they said and pasted it into Google. And one of the reasons why we try to use both is because we are trying to educate people. Part of our mission is education, so we use scientific names specifically so people can eventually make the connection from, hey, common name, scientific name, and maybe learn something along the way. And so sometimes there is a purpose for just using the scientific name or connecting both is to try to encourage people to...
See, that's what I think the best way is to put both. I think if you put both, then people will get the same, hopefully we'll make the same connection, and then no one feels stupider. We don't want, I don't want to feel stupider because I'm wicked smart.
Let's not get off the point here. The point is people profiting off of animals that they can't identify.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, and you're right, and it's valid for that point. I understand that. I disagree with the using of the name issue, but not being able to identify and then selling it, that does make a sense. I see the issue with that. There's another I have an article. Hold on one second. I'm going to send it over to you, Steve, if you can post it up. Um, there's a gentleman on Twitter named David Steen. He's quoted as the best biologist on Twitter, and this article is from Slate.com. Basically, what he does, as one of his things that he does on Twitter, is people send him pictures of something that they're looking at live and say, what kind of snake is this? Like, is this dangerous? Do I need it? And he has his Twitter, and he responds as soon as he can with the positive identification. I think it's really cool.
And
so, like, there's an example right there.
Are you guys seeing it?
That's a really cool idea. I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's up. It's up.
Okay, because for whatever reason, Erica, my present to everyone button wasn't working. Oh, there's an advertisement on the page. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, this is just, you're kind of just highlighting him on Twitter alongside Wild, at alongside Wild. So I think, I checked his stuff out today, and I think it's a really cool idea. And I think, guys, for us, that might be a nice thing if we have to, maybe we start our own Twitter or something and start doing that for turtles, because I think he does mainly snakes. I think that's his thing. So,
Steve, can we do that for turtle identification?
I'd love if people send us pictures on Twitter or Facebook to identify their turtles.
Because those are fun.
Yeah, I think that's a cool idea.
We enjoy that.
We'll have to start a Twitter handle. We'll get on that and let you guys know next episode.
That's not easily Googleable either.
Right.
Yeah, you can go look at a bunch of pictures, but unless you're a trained eye and you really know what you're looking for, it can be really easy to confuse some things that are similar to one another. So,
which is why most of the people on Craigslist are selling something that's not. I mean, someone was selling a red-eared Greek turtle the other day. Okay, don't know where you got the Greek from, but.
So this is an example of how we're going to take a step and correct that issue then. So if we have, especially now, it's valid now because you could have used the Turtle Room Twitter to identify it, but you still identified it wrong. So
changing the world one tweet at a time.
Right. Listen, tweets are our world now, brother. So
I'm gonna go follow him from our organization Twitter account now.
Beautiful. Good,
so we can steal all his ideas.
Right. Well,
so we can know we're around.
He's not I don't think it's an idea. I don't think he's making money off it. I think he's just doing a service.
Yeah.
I mean,
if he knows we're around, he could send turtle people to us or something.
Yeah, exactly right.
Ooh, sounds like a good way to steal his business.
He's only doing snakes, man. He's not only doing snakes.
Again, the guy's name is David A. Steen, a wildlife ecologist, occasional contributor to Slate.com. His Twitter handle is alongsidewild.com, so check that out and get him some free pub.
That's awesome.
Moving on.
Cool, John.
Thank you. I think that worked out well. I forgot about that. I wasn't even planning for that. All right, so number 3. Selling/looking for animals that are illegal in that location.
That one's self-explanatory.
Right. And
I just feel like I said that about 2 already, but this one actually is.
Yeah, this one is more self-explanatory. But at the same time, though, we should be willing to do things that are a little more dangerous for the point of conservation. Should we not? Shouldn't we be a little more committed than worrying about some silly state law?
Keep talking like that, and if the DEEP doesn't come get you, I'm going to kick you off this broadcast.
Oh, fair enough. I'll call it valid.
No, it's just stupid. You have to work within the law, otherwise it'll catch up with you.
Right. And
a lot of people. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I mean, all the people that we disdain are people that are, could probably justify what they're doing with some sort of justification like that. Like, well, I'm going out, I'm going outside. I'm thinking outside the box to make it something. You know what I mean? Like the way that like drug dealers, they like justify what they're doing because like Pablo Escobar funded a bunch of hospitals in Colombia because he, you know what I mean? He's like, oh no, I'm a philanthropist. No, you're a murdering drug dealer. So it's the same kind of idea, right? A little slightly different.
Yeah, I don't know if people or even animals are dying because of it, but You just have to do it because otherwise it'll catch up to you. And the laws exist for a reason. So, like for instance, I won't be able to keep spotted turtles soon because they're going to be protected here in my native Connecticut. Yeah,
Right.
and that I would happily give them up if it meant that people could be prosecuted in the state for taking them from the wild. So,
Right.
you know, it's realizing that it would suck for me, and I could do some good for the species, but I'll leave it up to someone else who legally can do so.
Right. Okay, we're gonna. I think that's good. We'll call it valid. So there's only 2 that are not unvalid so far. Is that right?
In your opinion, yeah, I think all
Right.
10 are valid.
I think we did. I know, but my opinion is one that matters. I think we did pretty good. I'm the host. All right, number 2.
Are you?
We established that at the beginning of the broadcast.
Well, that's before Steve and I made a vote.
Have I been on double secret probation this whole time?
We're texting each other.
All right, number 2. The biggest blunder. In quotation marks, first dollar amount offer gets it. Now, this I think is definitely deplorable. You are selling the wildlife out from underneath us, sir, and you are doing it intentionally just to make your own profit.
Yeah, first whatever gets it. They do it all the time. I see it all the time. It's not even that big of a deal. It's not like people are in an uproar about it, but it's just if you really stop and think about it, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you in it for?
Right. Well, not for helping. I mean, you're in for your own.
What's the excuse? Oh, I had something come up in my life and I had to get rid of my animals. Well, screw you then, because you have turtles and they live for 100 years. So that's not a good excuse.
Right. And turtles are more important than your life, bro.
They are.
Wow.
How many billion people are there in the world? How many billion people are there in the world? You don't matter, John.
I know.
Turtles matter.
It's very true. I mean, when there's only 4 of them.
Right.
The Yangtze River's like somebody should. If there was a way. Wait a minute. I'm going to kill myself for the Yangtze giant soft shells in protest.
That would be awesome.
Would that be would people like listen if you know how like they have the monk that's got the famous picture of him burning, he killed himself in the on the runway. You know what I'm talking about?
No. This conversation took a turn.
Steve, Google burning Buddhist monk.
No, he won't do it.
I'm saying this is a very famous picture.
Look at his face.
I'm telling you, you got to trust me. This is gonna come full circle.
Classic. Don't do it. We don't need to see that crap.
Yeah, it's a protest thing.
We got time. And then John, who's already got priors, is not looking that up on his computer. He's gonna have Steve, our choir boy, do it.
I'll send you the link right now.
Are you talking about the poster?
Huh?
Are you talking about the Buddhist monk poster?
Yeah.
Sounds inappropriate.
I'm telling you, it is.
There's a poster of an actual person actually dying.
Yeah, he did it. He laid down in the street and set himself on fire in protest. I'm upset that you don't know, because obviously then it means he didn't really reach everybody.
There it is. There's a picture of that poster that John's referring to.
Yes.
I'm still not sure why it's relevant, but
so I'm going to do that for the giant soft-shell turtles, and then there'll be a famous picture of me burning with like a turtle mask on or something.
I see.
Probably not worth the whole effort to do that, but whatever. Sometimes we got to take swings here. Okay. So valid.
Anyway.
First dollar sign gets it. We're gonna protest now, just based on having this podcast. And the last one. Do we have pictures of these that we can show, Steve?
Pictures of what?
No, I don't think so.
Can we?
Of...
The last one. I don't want to say it without. Number
Type
one.
It.
Oh.
Type it.
Oh, okay.
Did you get it? Did you get my message?
Yeah.
Okay. So, number one, profiting off of genetic defects, i.e., your mohawk sliders, your two-headed turtles that are not going to live.
Yeah, and I didn't want to include morphs in this.
There's a mohawk slider. I had no idea what it was myself, by the way. That is a pretty bizarre genetic defect.
That one's not even necessarily as bad.
I thought it was when it's two of them.
No. The mohawk had a bit of plastering on the top. Like
the mohawk yellow-bellied slider.
Do you see the one to the left? Like one of those turtles is like both of them. I mean, they're absolutely warped. Steve, say something so that it shows it.
Yeah, I don't know why we're having more technical difficulties. It won't present to everyone unless I'm sitting here talking. So I'm going to talk. Here's our Siamese mohawk yellow-bellied sliders. This one looks really messed up.
Exactly.
So that's plastering on the top. That's the only difference?
Still, chances of survival, I imagine, are not that great.
Both of them, actually. The one on the right has a smaller, one of the heads is smaller. And, and the other, I mean, neither of those, if anything, the one on the right would survive, but I bet that neither of them would. So those will go for big money, and then they would die. But there's ones that are even worse, like things that you would never even want, but somebody was selling them a couple months ago, like freak sliders, and they were just regular red ear sliders that were just deformed. It was just like $200 a piece. Like, I don't want a regular red ear slider. I definitely don't want a special needs red ear slider. These animals shouldn't even exist. They exist for our amusement.
So what do you do with one? What do you do if one hatches?
Why would you even be hatching red ear sliders? Why even hatch red ear sliders? But if
good point.
If a normal animal, if it was something else, then, you know, if it survives, then you try to find it a good home. And a lot of people will do that. They'll say, you know, there's a runt to the litter. You can have, if you buy these 3, then I'll give you the runt and you can try it, you know.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But, you know, you don't sell the runt for 5 times as much because it has no eyes.
Right.
That's the one that people do all the time. An animal that's born with no eyes.
So it's about the profiting off the defective animal. It's
right, and morphs don't fit into this. Morphs is a big piece of this, but that's a genetic mutation as well. But it's mostly visual.
But they have survival rates. They have higher survival rates.
Well, in captivity, yeah, but it's mostly visual. It's not just visual, but it's mostly visual. And you know, people breed those on purpose, and there's a really big market for them, and they're basically bred just to be pets, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
So you think that is well in the wild?
You think that is the worst of the 10?
I personally do think that that's the worst, yeah.
Okay.
I think that if you're the type of person who's taking the deformed animal that has less of a chance of surviving and is playing it up like this is a really awesome animal, then you're in it for the wrong reasons. And it's just gross. That's my opinion. This is all based on opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's our number one reason or biggest blunder. We have a couple other quick ones that we want to just go over, and I think we're gonna be wrapping up the episode here. So here's another side pet peeve. Not knowing the species subspecies. There's a lot of this going on. Quote unquote 3-turtle box turtle for sale. It's an ornate, buddy. Go back to playing with puppies. That's a great line. Yeah, so I don't know how important is that to you guys? Do you think that that's a really big issue, the subspecies issue?
But it's not species or subspecies. It's what we already talked about. It's just knowing what the animal is.
Right.
Like, don't sell it as something that it's not. You're asking for money for something you know nothing about. If you don't know what species it is, then you obviously don't know how to take care of it. Because taking care of one species is not like taking care of another.
Well, then how specific does that get if it's the subspecies is wrong? Like you said, like it's a 3-toed box turtle or it's ornate. How much does it matter? That's different. How much does it matter if it's a subspecies of the specific?
Those are different species, aren't they, Steve?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
not subspecies.
They're not even different subspecies. Ornate and 3-toed are different species.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. If it's that is different, I'm saying, what if it's like a different, like from a different area, um, you know, so it's a subspecies of.
It may not matter that much for the animal, but it matters for. I mean, if you have an animal that is obviously not what you're selling it as, then I think it's an indication of your overall knowledge of the animal and what you're doing. I can't imagine you have the best situation. And of course, it's just an assumption, but that's all you have to go on when you're buying something from someone.
Right.
If I'm going to the Mazda dealership because I really love Mazdas, and all the guy's talking about is Toyotas because that's all he knows about or what he thinks it is, like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not buying a Mazda from a guy who only knows about Toyotas and thinks this is a Toyota.
Right.
But, like, everything you say is invalid to me right now. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Good. I like that one. Next quick one. Lack of info or too short of an ad, which is the perfect example. Greek tortoise, female, 5 inches, 150. Thanks. you gotta be a little bit better of a salesman here.
Clearly, one of this poster's leadership skills is not woo. He can't really make something sound nice and convince people to buy it.
I think that we can. We like to share who this poster is? Are we doing that?
It's vague. I have no idea. I haven't seen the ad myself.
No, he's talking about
the ad. I mean, yeah. Who these are quotes from someone that is that was commenting on what their pet peeve were. So
right.
That was written out. I don't know if that's an actual thing or just a brilliant writing example from.
It's probably an actual thing and a brilliant writing thing.
Okay, fair enough. One and two are the same. Okay, so third one. Sorry, no individual photos. I don't have the time. Okay, then I don't have the time to reply to your ad, you lazy jack. Boop. Thanks
for the beep. We like to keep it PG here.
Yeah, no, listen. I'm surprised I haven't started working in the bleeps yet. That was the most necessary one though so far, I think. That's a pretty obvious one. I mean, if you don't have the time to put up a photo or take a photo and upload it, then you obviously. I mean, we probably should buy it because the animal needs to be out of that person's care as soon as possible. If you don't have the time to take a lousy picture on your iPhone.
That's a really common one, though. It's funny to hear it from someone else because we've seen it so many times.
Right.
Really funny.
Last one. LTC or CB Eastern Box Turtle adults for sale. Available, $250 each. High color, high color, high color. Says, yeah, so you're from North Carolina. It's April. The one on the right in the pic is missing its front legs, and they're about as high colored as my big toe without a tan. Shut up and take your ad down, please. It's embarrassing.
Exactly. This is the stuff I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about.
Right.
So basically, a lot of wild-caught box turtles are sold every spring, and that's if you look at the box turtle classified page on kingsnake.com, it is absurd.
Right.
It's just full of eastern box turtles. Big groups like that, they're obviously poached. It's just disgusting. But everything is a screamer. Screamer, EBT male. Screamer. Okay.
Okay, so I would just like to say that if you enjoyed any of those comments, that you'll probably will enjoy the website of our sponsor today, GardenStateTortoises.com. Maybe check it out. I don't know. Maybe there's no affiliation there. Maybe there is. I don't know. Do we want to? So that wraps up our top 10. Do we want to talk about anything else here, guys?
I don't want to go.
Yeah. Well, we have to go.
What do we?
Unfortunately.
Well,
this is what I'm gonna do. I have 3 things that I'm just gonna read you headlines. I'm not gonna actually talk about articles, but there's a couple that I think are really important. So if you want to Google them yourselves, then you should do that, and then we can get out of here. Is that cool?
People don't want to use Google.
If we've established anything, you're probably right.
John doesn't use Google. John hates using Google. He hates copy and pasting into Google.
I do though. All right, here's the articles. White Awash, a 10,000-year-old Antarctic ice shelf, is entering its final act on onearth.org. On this one, I'm not sure what this website is, but I just saw the article and I liked it. Could cocaine-eating caterpillars replace herbicides in Colombia? That is on the ChristianScienceMonitor.com, csmonitor.com. I don't know about how reputable that site is. On Earth is pretty good. Scientific American, the headline, Mysterious Disease Threatens Australian Turtle with Immediate Extinction. That's about the Bellinger River snapping turtle, which if you get our daily news reports from the turtleroom.com, we addressed that. TheGuardian.com has an article, China agrees to phase out its ivory industry to combat elephant poaching. I think that's a really big one. Huge step. And TheGuardian.com, as poaching heats up, conservationists advocate sending South African rhinos to Texas. So, check out any and all of those articles. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. We do not have time to discuss it, and it will not be as relevant by next month. So,
that's pretty cool, though.
Check those out. Those are all pretty good. For any of you that are looking to find your own, news on, nature and environmental issues, those are all pretty decent sites. And if there's a site that we didn't mention that you go to that helps you with that, then let us know about that too. All right. Well, you guys have anything else before we wrap up here?
We did have a couple comments that are kind of connect to one of our discussions that might be worth mentioning.
Let's do it.
In fact, one of our educational resource developers, Kevin Labille, says one of the advantages to using scientific names is you can actually communicate accurately with international folks, because the international turtle community relies more on scientific names, and they might have different common names. Another viewer / follower from Spain. From Spain, Juan, he says, here in Spain, Greek tortoises are called what translates to English as Moorish tortoises. So it confuses him a lot when he hears Greek tortoises in English, because it doesn't connect to what he knows as that animal.
That's interesting, because the Moors, in Spain, everything that was about the Moors. So I wonder if that had to do, why they call them that, if it had to do with just like a specific area, or if it has to do with Moorish art, the same way that Greeks are.
Yeah.
That's interesting. See, I think that's really cool. Like, I would love to know what they call it in every part of the world. I think that's as cool or interesting as knowing the scientific name too. Just because
in China, spotted turtles are called starry night turtles.
Right. Like, that's really cool to me. That's really cool. So,
but not in. They don't call them starry night turtles in English.
Right.
They don't use English. Right. Some do.
They speak Chinese.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right. I think that's interesting. So, I don't know. We remain undecided on that argument amongst us. Any more comments?
No, that's pretty much it for tonight.
Does Kevin Labille have anything else he wants to say to me? Because say it now, Labille. Be a man.
That was written 19 minutes ago, so I'm not even sure if he's still necessarily listening yet.
Okay.
Either way,
he likes this. He
does.
And we like you, Kevin. I'm just kidding. All right, so we're gonna sign off then.
Kevin, I like you more than my best friend.
I'm his best friend. So
Kevin's my best friend.
Hurts. Kevin is?
We've been texting all week.
I'll bet you have.
You
know what? Of all the low blows, that's where you're gonna do that to me on national Google. The hell with you, and the hell with this podcast. I quit.
International, which you would appreciate if you knew the scientific names of animals.
Right. I would rather know the Moorish tortoise. Okay, guys, thank you very much. This is for Steve and Tony. I am John, and we've all been breathing out of our butts for this episode of the podcast. Good night.